Meghan and Harry, y'all owe me a serious chunk of change that loan for your Montecito mansion. If it ain't paid back in 30 days, I'll have no choice but to take this to court.
What happens when the dream you sold to the world turns out to be borrowed? And what if the person who helped you build it suddenly wants their money back? Meghan and Harry owed Tyler Perry. At least, that's what the voice on the radio insisted, calm, clipped, and colder than a Montecito morning. No yelling, no theatrics, just that firm tone adults use when the bill is due and the grace period is over. It sliced through December like a receipt waving in the wind. And the irony? The message landed harder than any paparazzi headline ever could. From there, everything unraveled the way scandals usually do, fast, messy, and completely unprepared for breakfast crowd consumption. One minute it's just a rumor threading its way across X and gossip forums, and the next it's front-page debate material sandwiched between celebrity divorces and political theater. The part that hooked everyone wasn't even the amount owed. Money in Hollywood always doubles, triples, or evaporates depending on who's telling the story. It was the context. Tyler Perry wasn't some random creditor. He was the guy who opened his Beverly Hills estate to them when the world was sharpening knives. The guy who offered security, privacy, emotional backup, and apparently a line of credit that could have rivaled a studio loan. Fans started arguing about it instantly. Sussex supporters insisted it was exaggerated tabloid fodder meant to humiliate the couple, while critics practically printed T-shirts reading "Told ya" and counted down the alleged 30-day deadline like it was advent calendar content. And somewhere in the middle were people like me, sipping coffee, blinking at their screen and whispering, "Okay, hold up. How much does a house payment in Montecito even cost?" Quick answer, more than the GDP of a small village, apparently. The $14 to $20 million starter home came with panoramic ocean views, 9 bedrooms, 16 bathrooms, because, of course, plus sprawling gardens, a tennis court, and that whole fresh start narrative the couple desperately needed post-Mexit. It also came with serious upkeep. Property taxes in Montecito alone could make billionaires flinch, and security costs don't exactly pay themselves. Even Forbes threw out numbers that made readers tilt their heads like confused chihuahuas. But the loan from Perry wasn't just financial, it became symbolic. A lifeline during a chaotic transition, a gesture of empathy turned into IOU. Somewhere between friendly support and business arrangement, the wires tangled. And once money enters a friendship, it never leaves quietly. It kicks chairs, slams doors, and airs grievances publicly if pushed hard enough. The funniest moment, if you can laugh at rich people debt drama, was how social media treated the whole thing like a Netflix thriller. Threads labeling it Hollywood's quiet foreclosure arc blew up overnight. People threw around numbers nobody could verify. 16 million, 11 million, 7 million plus interest. Someone on Reddit claimed it was crude interest, like Perry was running a back-alley pawn shop, instead of being, a literal billionaire mogul. While all that noise churned, the real mystery boiled beneath. How had two people once surrounded by royal infrastructure become dependent on favors, loans, and goodwill to sustain their California reinvention? Their brand was supposed to print money, Netflix series, Spotify deals, memoirs, docu-series, public speaking, philanthropy. You get a revenue stream, and you get a revenue stream, except it didn't exactly play out like the Oprah car giveaway. Archetypes underperformed, Netflix saw diminishing returns after the documentary spike faded, production timelines slowed, audience appetite thinned, and Spotify's CEO basically shrugged and implied it just wasn't worth the effort anymore. Bill Simmons didn't help when he called them grifters. Harsh, yes, but it stuck. Add that to IRS paperwork drama, foundation restructuring, tabloids foaming at the mouth, and suddenly every unpaid invoice looked like foreshadowing. Meanwhile, Archwell, originally pitched as the spiritual successor to Diana meets Obama Production Company Energy, got bogged down in operating losses and political crosswinds. Tax filings painted one picture, PR painted another, and both sides insisted the other lacked context. Donors pulled back, staff got cut, auditors asked annoying questions. You know things are bad when accountants become main characters. While all that simmered, the royal bridge evaporated. No duchy funding, no palace safety net, no subtle Windsor bailout, just sunny California, high expenses, and the occasional lawsuit to keep things spicy. Independence costs money, and freedom doesn't do layaway. At this point, I actually found myself weirdly sympathetic. They jumped from royal structure straight into Hollywood capitalism without a ramp. That's like leaving military training and immediately entering a cooking competition. Sure, discipline overlaps, but ovens don't care about protocol. Still, the Perry situation remained the centerpiece, and here's where the drama gained teeth. If Perry sues, Discovery opens the books. That means financials, contracts, loan docs, emails, tax filings, the works. Hollywood hates Discovery. Celebrities fear it like toddlers fear bedtime, because numbers reveal what PR tries to waterpaper over. And let's be real, tabloids salivated at the idea of Harry and Meghan Chapter 2, the Ledger edition. At the center of it all sat the mansion, this absurdly gorgeous fortress overlooking the Pacific, both sanctuary and burden. A mansion purchased at the height of reinvention mania, a mansion that, if rumors held, was partially funded by favors from billionaires, producers, Silicon Valley dreamers, and a few well-meaning acquaintances who thought they were backing creative ventures instead of a down payment. There's a part of me that wonders if any of it felt worth it. Did they stand on the balcony overlooking the ocean at sunset, thinking, yes, the debt is totally fine, look at this view? Because honestly, I might. But views don't service loans, and favors don't stay favors forever. Eventually, someone stops being polite and gets real. Real Housewives rules apply globally, it seems. The funniest subplot came from fans. Sussex supporters debated collateral law like they passed the bar. Anti-Sussex critics pulled out calculators like forensic auditors. TikTok churned edits of Tyler Perry voice clips over dramatic strings like it was the trailer for Dune: Financial Reckoning. And yes, people in comments absolutely typed subscribe for part 2, which is both hilarious and shameless, so respect where it's due. Speaking of, if you're still here and tracking all this chaos, go ahead and hit subscribe or like, because this ride is just getting started, and frankly, I want witnesses. Back to the chaos. By early 2026, the Perry deadline functioned like an emotional season finale clock. Would they settle quietly, liquidate jewelry, sell the house, refinance, extend terms, file counterclaims, or, the nuclear option, go to court and let the chips fall where litigators tell them? There was even speculation about Harry's recent lawsuit payout being potential relief funds, because nothing screams modern monarchy like paying one billionaire with money extracted from a tabloid empire. Shakespeare couldn't dream of plotlines this absurd. Even the royals stayed distant observers, and you just know they watched with popcorn-free stoicism and impeccable posture. Charles focusing on monarchy optics, William prioritizing stability over sibling rescue missions. The palace wasn't sending lifeboats. The message seemed clear. You chose independence, now you get the full California retail price. By now, the narrative had shifted. In 2020, it was about escape. In 2022, it was about reinvention. In 2023, it was about storytelling. In 2025, it became about sustainability. And in 2026, accountability. Not moral, not ideological, purely financial. Debt doesn't care about titles, sympathy, trauma, philanthropy, image, or romantic arcs. It just sits patiently in the background, waiting to be paid or waiting to be weaponized. And that's the uncomfortable center of this whole saga. Independence isn't free, and reinvention demands liquidity. I don't even know how this ends. Maybe they settle privately, and fans never learn the real number. Maybe Perry softens and restructures. Maybe leaks surface, and we all blink at a PDF one morning. Or maybe this is just Act 2, and Act 3 involves asset sales, rebrands, and a fresh PR renaissance. Whatever the case, debt, like truth, has a timer, and Perry started his clock on live radio. Thanks for watching and hanging through the madness. Appreciate you being here.